So I'm so excited for today's broadcast. Just want to do a little bit of housekeeping here. Want to remind you that you can tune in to us every day, and we're at HAPS at SAIRNT, or on Facebook at SAIRNT, or YouTube at SAIRNT, on TikTok at SAIRNT, and on Instagram at Some Sweet Foods, and Twitter at Some Sweet Foods. Yes, 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 yes. And you can always catch the rebroadcast, the audio at SAIRNT on, and that stands for Sugar Addiction is Real Nutritional Therapy, and that is on all of the podcast streaming platforms. Yes. Also want to remind you, again, as I do every time, that if you don't know what your risk is for type 2 diabetes, you can go over to the American Diabetes Association, and they have an assessment over there that you can take that will let you know what your risk is for type 2 diabetes. So, and is there anything else? Just doing a little bit of housekeeping here. We have a great guest with us today. I'll save the information I was going to say for tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow. We're going to be discussing some more health news and information on tomorrow. But right now, I'm going to get our guest into the back room and see if he. Give me a second here. Always just a minute to get everyone queued up and get everyone into the room, so into the green room. Takes a little time with the technology because this stuff is new for everybody. So let me just let him know. I'm just letting him know. So, but anyway, so yes, so I'm really excited. You know what I've been doing today? I've been shopping around. Well, aren't we all shopping this time of year? Yes. But no, I've actually been shopping for something a little bit different. I've been shopping for space. Yes, I'm looking for space. It's so hard to find these days, you know. Real estate is really, really difficult to come by these days, and hey, I'm looking for it. Oh yeah, I just wanted to also remind you all. Want to remind you all to get your 4 bottles in per day. 4. You get 4 bottles in per day. Yes, yeah. Drink your water. Make sure that you're drinking your water. So, and 4 of these will get you 64 ounces a day. Yes. So I also want to put that there. And let me check. I'm going to get better at doing this here. So it will be shortly, and he will be on the line. It's just queuing up into the back room. So, oh, there he is. He's there. Let's see if we got the invitation going. And I need to take a sip of that, but let me chat him up here. Let's see. So let's see, because I'm not showing it, so let me cancel it out and we'll do it again. That sometimes makes it work a little bit better. So yeah, so let me tell you a little bit about our guest while he's coming into the back room. So so our guest, Marcus Wright, he is into, I'm sorry, I'm waiting for my cues to come up. You know, I'm not as fast as some people in my computer. You know, it will start freezing on me. So, you know, we just want to make sure. But he is a certified holistic counselor. And so he's going to be sharing with us on herbology and things that we can do to help ourselves to get better. So I'm so excited to have him join us today. Doesn't look like he got the say. So, excuse me. I'm popping open a new one every day. It's when I go live with you guys that not that I remember to drink the water, but that I always have to get a fresh bottle. So, yeah, but I am really excited. So he's gonna be joining us here in just a moment. And I don't have any fillers because they took my commercials away and all of that good stuff. So they took all of that stuff away, and I'm trying to give more room and more time to our guests to come in and to have more time to talk. And I don't want what happened the other day to happen today. So I do have a backup ready to go so that I can just go live on another piece of technology on my phone or another laptop. So I'm trying to keep all of those open like that so that I don't end up having what happened the other day to happen again. But our guest was very gracious in coming to allow us to finish up those few seconds, and so we'll see what happens. I'm going to start queuing up people early because usually I give news and information prior to. So this would be, well, it's always my fault, isn't it? But this would be my fault. So while we're waiting for that to take place, I will go ahead and share with us that there is a new drug recall that was issued, and it's for some cold and flu medications. So yeah, so that has occurred. So Rompepeco cold and flu drug recall, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's ROMPEPECHO cold and flu drug recall. So that happened this week. So there are like 12 products, and so I'm not sure where you would get those products, but if you have them, of course, they are asking you to throw them away. So, but it's cold and flu medication, and that's ROMPEPECHO. And the expiration dates look like it's lots, this 19F88, and that's through June 2022. 19F168, and that's through June 2022. There's also a one through July 2022. So you want to check and make sure you check your expiration dates. There's also through August 2022 and through September 2022 and through May 2022 and through July 2022. And I think if I didn't mention, in January 2022. So that's the PECHO CF, the DM, the EX, and the MAX. So if you have those, you would want to discard them, or like I always say, take them back to the store, get your money back, or call the company and get your coupons. All right. So let's see what's going on. There we go. We got it. Coming up in just a few seconds, everyone. So yes. So excited. Hello. Hello, hello. Are you there? Okay, so you're really, really low. It's still really low. Let's see if we can. It might be the app. Okay, I see you there. Did you did you remove me? Okay. It's not very loud, so we can barely hear you. Okay.
How's that?
Yay! We hear you. Good job. We hear you. All right. So everyone, well, Marcus, I want to welcome you. Thank you so much for joining us
Great.
today. And everyone, I've already told everyone. So this is Marcus Wright, and he is
Hey.
into holistic medicine, right? Certified holistic counselor.
Holistic counseling for the past 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Originally, back a little bit of my backstory. So I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri, and I was led into holistic counseling by a few a few events that were unfortunate. But
Hmm.
I find that most times, the hero's journey leads us largely to transformation. And my
Yes.
transformation began with a lot of tragedy, which
Hmm.
I in turn received through, I would say, just poor health, poor habits,
Hmm.
dealing with the depression and the anxiety that I was facing with
Hmm.
the bad things that were transpiring. So
Right.
for me, my health journey started when around I was about 27 in 2016. I was suffering from pre-diabetes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
here I am. Yes, here I am at 27 with a black patch in the back of my neck, and I'm the type of person.
Okay.
If something's going on with my body, I need to see, what it is and do
Hmm.
enough, um, uh, just investigating to find out how it's affecting me. So I
Right.
went online and I saw that black patch, as long as it's not as dark and with excess weight around your waist is attributed to insulin levels, high
Yeah.
insulin. So,
Yes.
it was scaring me. And I
Right.
realized, with how I was handling the things that was going on in my life, it
Hmm.
didn't necessarily have a holistic aspect, or it wasn't a contributing factor to me wanting to be the predecessor to change myself and my family. I was kind of
Hmm.
aiding in the problem and creating another generational curse for myself.
Right.
So this led me to doing more studying about the anatomy and the physiology. It- And I spoke to a mentor of mine about doing holistic training. So
Okay.
again, this is around the time where I'm suffering loss, so I'm dealing with a lot of things emotionally and mentally. But
Right.
I know in order for me to change others, I have to be the change that I want to see within myself. So
Exactly.
he started talking to me about an institution in Columbus, Georgia that practices in holistic neuropathic ways and avenues, and it was a
Hmm.
sanitarium.
Hmm.
So I took that journey down there around April, and within like a 3 or 4 year span, I received training in herbology, again, anatomy and physiology, hydrotherapy. And I learned these things and I incorporated them within my own life while also receiving clients and basically going through a rudimentary process
Hmm.
of incorporating better
Oh,
health habits for those that were uneducated in school, um, and I've run into people from various backgrounds, whether they
Right.
be doctors,
Mhm.
lawyers, nurses, you name it. But
Mhm.
one thing that the educational system doesn't give us is a comprehensive view of what naturopathic medicine can do for us,
Ooh.
particularly Black people. You know,
Right.
and my target audience has always been individuals that look like me because I understand what it's like to have a plight of um, not receiving the education or the
Mhm.
knowledge that you need to empower yourself
Right.
through good health. And it
Right.
starts with your mind, right?
Mhm.
So this journey has led me to meet a lot of interesting people, to receive a lot of interesting insight, and to navigate life spiritually to the point of understanding that the metaphysical, the quantum, has a direct impact on our physical vessel. And
Okay.
if we don't take care of one of those things, if one of those factors are not aligned,
Mhm.
then the whole thing is just going to be unalkaline. So
Okay.
this is what motivates me to do what I do.
Okay, so you just threw out some terms there. So you said metaphysical. So, you threw out some terms, and so like so we gotta delve into that, a little bit, so it could so that we can understand what it is, because we had somebody yesterday or the day before that was talking, holistic, was talking holistic in a different as far as Ayurvedic uh practice. So explain the metaphysical just a little bit. Just give us like just the overview of like what that is, how that relates to our bodies, and all of that.
When it comes to the quantum realm, which we're hearing more about in the metaphysical realm, it's it directly has to do with our cellular structure, right?
Okay.
So all of our cells are comprised of photonic energy, and
Mm-hmm.
this is a visible energy that is comprised of vibrations and electromagnetic frequency. Now,
Okay.
when it comes to beta wave, the difference between beta waves and alpha waves is the beta waves work at a lower optimal level where
Mm-hmm.
it's a lower density. So we have a system within our body called chakra systems, and these are nothing but energy composites of
Okay.
different governing entities, and they each have an intention within our life. So, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, if we start from the bottom chakra, which is the root chakra, it has to do with the beginning, the foundation, sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
And we go from there. We have our solar plexus and our sacral working through our heart and our throat and our pineal gland and our crown. But I'm saying that to say, if we're caught in the lower densities of this chakra system, this is where
Mm-hmm.
we find a lot of disease. So
Okay.
if we're vibrating at a lower level and these lower densities are taking root in our daily lives, so if we're constantly stressed, we're constantly creating cortisol, if we're
Mm-hmm.
constantly in a survival mechanism state of mind,
Uh-huh.
then a lot of those things will contribute to poor health
Mm-hmm.
because your cells aren't able to vibrate at an optimal level. And also, you're not thinking from a neurological standpoint, you're not thinking the way that
Mm-hmm.
you should on a given
Okay.
basis. So,
Okay.
what we want to do, or what my main focus is, helping people understand that there's no deviation between the physical and the spiritual. They're all
Mm-hmm.
interconnected. And
Okay.
you're going to be you're more of a light being than you are a being of density.
Mm-hmm.
Once this vessel's gone, that light will continue on. It's like electricity.
Mm-hmm.
If I plug a battery charger in the wall, that's the vessel. But that
Okay.
electricity, that current is always running. So if we take care of that at an optimal level, we will understand that what we put in our body, as far
Mm-hmm.
as raw material substance, has it's important, but it's not as important as fixing the root cause, which is the
Right.
symptomatic
Good. Yeah.
neurological pathways that we need to correct along the way.
So you use this, you helped yourself while helping others with the information that you're sharing with us today. And part of that was you used herbology. And can you talk a little bit about the herbology?
have to understand that herbs are a consistency of chlorophyll. And chlorophyll basically is a neuromelanin substance, and that is what we're largely comprised of. So, as I was speaking of earlier, African Americans, any melanated being on Earth, is comprised of carbon, and
Mm-hmm.
carbon is a carboline basis, which is a neuroplasticity form of chlorophyll. So what the herbs do is it helps us alkaline our system. So for
Okay.
instance, if I have somebody that's dealing with diabetes, there are
Mm-hmm.
particular herbs like dandelion root and partiarco and
What is that one? What is that one?
hawthorn berry.
Pardiaco. What is
Yeah.
that? Uh oh. Did we lose you?
Bark family. It's
It's
more
part
of
of
in a
what?
bark family, but
Okay.
it's a bark family. And
Okay.
this substance basically has amino acids in it, which
Okay.
help to um, elevate or kickstart the immunity. And every root to disease is found in the immune system.
Right.
So again, what the herbs do with the chlorophyll that's found in the herbs, it basically um, kickstarts
Mm-hmm.
the immune system in whatever aspects and I would say mechanisms that the B6, B9, and B12 have within our cellular structure. So herbs are very important also
Mm-hmm.
because what it allows us to do largely is when we look at nature, it's always this congruent factor of photosynthesis. So when
Right.
photosynthesis happens, is we have a structure of going through equinox, winter, summer. But this, what
Mm-hmm.
happens is each of the strands they evolve over time. And when we have this compartmentalized within our own system, with the immunity, we're also going through this evolution. We're hearing about an uptick in CBD oil and cannabis or hemp.
Right.
These are particular herbs that studies have shown have been contributing factors of curing cancer and also glaucoma and cataracts and things of that nature. And also, it has calcium in it, which is good for arthritis. So,
Okay.
this is the benefits of herbs that I think uh, we could use more educating on,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I'm here. This is what I'm here, largely to do, and just to put the health and put people's knowledge and wisdom in their own hands instead of relying on physicians
Mm-hmm.
and the pharmaceutical industry that has done nothing but serve but cure, not necessarily cure, I'm sorry, but treat the symptom but not cure the disease, if that makes any sense.
Right. So I know that So, like for instance, pharmaceuticals will go with just something real simple like aspirin, which is salicylic, which is what is it? A salicylic acid, because it's they chemically formulate it by doing something, but you can actually get salicylic acid from white willow bark, right? I believe it's white willow bark, and it's the same thing that it happens in nature. So for instance, people with people who have the heart disease and all that stuff, they take an aspirin, but it's not as potent of a form as what you could get in nature. Is that would that be safe to say? Because it is available in nature. They just formulate it themselves instead of, I guess, going out and growing white willow bark trees. Hello.
On the
Oh.
head, aspirin does contain white willow bark, but the problem is when it comes to the use of aspirin and order and other pharmaceutical substances, it's also a compository of other chemicals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with aspirin, and I know you've seen a lot of commercials where we have things like amlodipine and metoprolol and all these other medications that are used to cure the symptoms of different diseases.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you look at the commercial, they'll always tell you at the end, they'll kind of whisper
Yeah.
along, you know, or this may cause this side effect and that side effect. Well,
Right.
those side effects are major. And what
Yeah.
they also don't tell you is those side effects have long lasting effects on not just your immune system, which it in a lot of ways it kind of um, it weakens, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time it has neurological impacts.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, and one of the things that a doctor that I used to work with, Dr. Sandoval, he used to always tell us that, you know, if you have a glass of water and you put just like maybe a drop or two of poison in it, it's poison. You know, it ceased to become the essence of what it was intended to be.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it is 99.85% of water, you still
Right.
have a harmful substance in there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be a contributing factor to the expectancy of life that you're seeking to continue to evolve through.
So if like okay, so let's say for instance that you have someone who comes to you and they have they're on like a lot of medications. And we know that everything that we take, or like in that case with medications and things, is going to pass through the liver. And I've done some talks here about doing like a detox. Would you have them to well, I don't want to go into how you would treat them, but how would they be able to still maintain what they're doing on their medication? Because a lot of people are not going to want to quit those medications. Can they kind of detox while they're still taking the meds? Is it possible to kind of do a thing where, because I could imagine that you would have high levels of whatever in your system, in your liver, and you would need to do a complete detox, but they don't want to quit their meds, you know for fear of all the everything happening to them, what they're trying to prevent with the medication. Can you detox while you're still taking the meds? Is it safe to do that? Or try and put your body in an alkaline state is what I'm trying to say.
That's a very good question. Because I found that to be a challenge with a lot of the clients that I had throughout the years.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I would recommend a person do in the beginning is fast.
Okay.
And what happens is when you fast, you're not only alleviating a lot of the toxins that your body has been privy to through the consumption of what you ate and the meds that you've taken, but you're allowing something a metabolic enzyme called ketones to take factor in. So what ketones do is it's another way of breaking down. It's an antioxidant in your body, and it allows the body to eat up any extra fat, any extra lipids that exist within your immunity. So when it comes to taking meds through the process of elimination and recovery, I would wean them off. So after that fast, I would have them take maybe half a milligram,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like anything else. If you're weaning a person off a certain diet, you have to wean them off those meds as well, because your body has gotten so used to it.
Right.
So in the beginning, um, it's easier, but then as time goes on, you may experience some withdrawal symptoms depending on what the medication is, particularly oxycodone.
Right.
Um, but it's definitely it's definitely beneficial to just wean it off little by little instead of cutting anything off cold turkey as far as the meds are concerned.
Right. Right. So then you're talking about doing a fast, a complete fast. I think you know what, I know that people, because like when you I used to fast a lot, so religious fasting. So, and it's easy to do when I didn't, when I wasn't, it wasn't a directive. We're gonna fast kind of thing. It's just like if I just made up my mind, okay, I'm gonna fast, I could do it myself. But as a directive, it was kind of difficult. And so I find that I've seen that people always have different kinds of fasts that they try and do. Oh, and they're not really, and to me, they're not fast, but we're gonna do a juice fast, which we're gonna drink juice all day. I'm like, okay, well, that's not really a fast, Or we're gonna do this. I mean, for fasting for me is like a dry fast. You have nothing, right? So, what kind of fast do you have them do so they can actually understand what fasting is when you say fasting?
Well, definition
Uh oh,
abstaining
we can't.
from, right?
Okay, there you go.
Um, when you abstain from something, You basically are creating a resistance to it. So for instance, everybody's fast looks different. If I'm dealing with
Okay.
somebody that has cancer,
Hmm.
I would have them do a juice fast, a fruit juice
Okay.
fast in the morning and a veggie juice fast in the afternoon, because the body still needs those particular nutrients, right?
Okay.
If
Okay.
if it's somebody that's dealing with a benign issue, then it
Hmm.
would be something more like you said, a dry fast or maybe a water fast,
Okay.
because most people don't fast. But
Right.
there are implications again spiritually, where you brought up the religious thing with Jesus fasting 40, I think it was 40 days in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Well, the reason of that fast and understanding that fast was, number one, scientists has shown that the human body can withstand fasting for 40 days. So that was interesting nugget. And then
Okay.
also number two is, within that span, the immune system regenerates itself from a cellular level, from
Hmm.
a neurotransmittal level.
Okay.
They're just a total regeneration. So
Okay.
again, I guess it's subjective depending on whatever the person is facing. How I would have them fast, but more than likely, the standard fast that I would have a person do is a 3 day water fast.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's really good and interesting that you said that fasting allows you to regenerate on the cellular level. Like, I mean, that's like awesome. Because I always say that because I was a sugar addict. I still say I'm a recovering sugar addict. But I mean, I consume sugar, all the time. That was what. But during that course of, there was a period of time where I fasted, like religious fasting, for myself, and I don't really know why I was doing it, but it's kind of like I started with a 70-day fast. And I mean, you break it once you would break it once a day. So it was just like intermittent fasting, you break it once a day. But I never stopped after I did that 1 year. And then I just never stopped, and I continued to do it for years, you know. And I always say that that saved me from actually being diabetic, because when I would break the fast, I would have a full on meal of sugar. But I only had it once a day. You know what I'm saying? It was just like that meal was just like a continuous, and then boom, it was over, and then I would go back to fasting again. And I always say that's what saved me from diabetes. That's what saved me from diabetes. So I was getting a little regeneration going on there.
That's um it takes a lot of discipline to do that. And I think, going back to, it keeps popping up in my mind that the whole spiritual concept, it's largely a spiritual act, because spirituality is a disciplinary tool that we need. That's a daily part of our life. And
Hmm.
we just don't understand how much um the tone that we set through the words that we say, the affirmations, the prayers that we
Hmm.
speak on a daily basis have to do with the recovery of this. This is
Right.
60, 70 years, is a life well spent, a life well lived generally. It's
Yeah.
a blessing for a lot of people to um live to the age of 100, 105. But I
Yeah.
hear these blue zones that they have in certain parts of the world, like Loma Linda, California, and Okinawa, Japan. And when researchers do studies on these areas, they realize these people live a very frugal, very active, socially active, and physically active life, and they
Right.
have less stress. But
Hmm.
we, I guess, in the West, we've come to understand or believe that more creates happiness, when it's actually the less you have and the
Hmm.
more love that you're enveloped in creates
Hmm.
a better standard of life.
Yeah, and that really is true. I mean, but I used to pray I want to live to be 120, because like when you read the Bible and stuff, Moses lived to be 120, so I was always praying, for 120. And I always and so I look back over that, and I say, okay, well, little things were happening all along that's kind of, like life sparing, to me, because like while I'm trying to do myself in, with the sugar, I'm getting life sparing stuff going on with with what they call intermittent fasting. But I was religious fasting, but now once I discovered intermittent fasting, I was like, oh, I've been doing that forever. And so I think that those kind of things are life sparing for us. They help us, and as you said, you've given us some knowledge to say that that helps us to regenerate ourselves when we fast. So, and I think I just did a study, or no, I just did a talk. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Yesterday, no, not yesterday. One day this week, where I was discussing fasting, and they were saying that it can be danger. It can make your body to, if you do it a lot, it can make your body to hold on to, slow your metabolism down, and make your body hold on to the food, the fat that it receives, and all that. So it's like, so I think that what I want to make sure that from that message to this one is that people get that you can still fast, but you have to really know your body. One thing, you have to pay attention to your body, and then that you need to, it's not going to hurt, because like I was saying, if you go when you go to bed, if you get 8 hours of sleep, which you should get your 8 hours, then that's going to give you 8 hours of fasting right there. And then you can just add to it, 4 hours after you wake up, 2 hours after you wake up, like that. So it makes it very easy to actually fast.
Yeah, and even while breaking the fast, it has to be a slow progression into
Hmm.
consumption again,
Okay.
because your body has just been in overdrive for the longest. And then when you fast, it's now at a sedative state. So it's able to rest. The organs are able to properly work and be aligned again. But first thing we do when we break a fast, let me hop in the refrigerator, see what I can get to eat, real quick.
Yeah, we be look,
So,
look
and
going
I mean,
in.
right. But understandably so. But at the same time, like I tell a lot of my clients, you know, your condition didn't come overnight,
Right.
and the implementations that you're going to make, the adjustments that you're going to make with your life, it's also going to take time. But that's the beauty of it. When
Hmm.
you allow a person to put their health in their hands and give them the information and the tools that they need to change,
Right.
it's much more empowering. you
Right.
know and I think that's
Right.
the rewarding thing for me, and that's why I got into this. And the creator gave me this calling, was because I realized that I myself was a playing a contributing factor in my poor health, and
Hmm.
I saw generations before me also playing contributing factors into their poor health. And sometimes I kick myself for saying, like, dang, I wish I knew what I knew then so that I can
Right.
impart this knowledge. But at the
Hmm.
same time, God has placed people in my path where I can still make a difference.
Right.
And the rewarding factor is just seeing people want to do better for themselves, not just for them, but because of the community at large that they created for themselves. People
Right.
have kids and grandkids, and this new age that we're approaching, it's all about information. But what do you do with that information?
Right.
Do you allow it to sit and rest and stew in your mind, and you hold on to it like a pot of
Hmm.
treasure that you can do nothing with? Or do you expansively give it out to people, and allow them and yourself to reward based off the gains that you will accumulate throughout the journey?
Right. Right. That's really awesome. That's really
Yeah.
awesome. So you said that you studied herbology, and what was the second thing that you said, you mentioned that you studied in your process of learning?
Hey,
Uh-oh.
hydrotherapy was another thing that I studied. I
Okay.
studied
Yeah.
hydrotherapy. I went through a comprehensive knowledge again, which I went through in college, but I had a refresher of anatomy and physiology. And I also took some Swedish massage techniques. I think I left that out, but yeah. I,
Okay, so the hydrotherapy, you know, that to me that seems really interesting. Like, what exactly is hydrotherapy, and how does that help us to get better?
What any hydrotherapy is basically knowing that our body is largely comprised of water, H2O,
Okay.
75 to 80%, depending on our weight. And what we when we understand that the mechanisms that comprise us on the inside externally, if we tie them in and we incorporate the external mechanisms of that same entity, it can have a
Hmm.
resounding effect. And
Okay.
what hydrotherapy does largely is not just internally, but whenever you raise, for example, I'll give you an example. So when you have something called a hyperthermia treatment, a hyperthermia treatment is basically when you're in a bathtub or you're submerged in a lot of water,
Hmm.
particularly temperature being above 108, something that'll raise your body temperature
Okay.
above 102, 103.
Okay.
When you create
And
an
we would
artificial
normally call
fever,
that a fever, right? We would normally call that a fever.
because yeah, right.
Okay.
But we have a fever naturally. Our response is to lower our body temperature.
Hmm.
But in all actuality, we're supposed to keep that fever elevated because what's happening is we have something called chlorophylls, monocytes, and other mechanisms of white blood cells that have become active in our body.
Okay.
So when you create this fever, artificially or unartificially, your body is sending signals to wherever the disease is happening. So, for
Okay.
instance, when I would give a cancer patient the hypothermia treatment, the focus is to attack where the tumors are. So they would stay in the tub, elevate that oral temperature up to 102, 104, and we would sustain that for about 20 to 30 minutes. Now, in the process of us doing that, I have to keep the head cool because we don't want the brain to overheat, right? Any
Right.
overheating of the brain will bring on brain damage. But
Okay.
through this process, you're keeping a person hydrated with lukewarm water, and that 20-minute elevation of the white cells doing their job will create a healing factor. And when you do this through the process of time, it has tremendous benefits.
Okay. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. So you would and you said hyper I'm sorry, say it again, hydrotherapy, but it's hyperthermia, hyper, not hypo.
Hyperthermia. So
Yeah. Okay.
hypo is the
Cold
reverse. So
is
when
the
you
cold.
think of hypoelasticity, it's meaning it's at a slower rate.
Hmm.
When it's hyper, I would say hypoglycemia or hypothyroidism.
Right.
When it's hypo, that means that the thyroid is operating at a slower rate, which
Hmm.
means you're not able to process um, the lipids that you need to in order for the thyroid to function, the hormones to function. And
Hmm.
it's the same principle with hyperthermia. The higher the water is, hyper meaning higher voltage, thermia meaning temperature, right?
Okay. Okay. Cool. That is so cool. I mean, that is like that's awesome. So they just sitting in the bath or the water, a pool for 20 minutes at a elevated temperature, raising the body temperature, activates your white blood cells to go and attack disease. Wow. Wow. That is really that's amazing. That's amazing. So, would you recommend that people try and do? Because I know somebody's going to say, "I got a hot tub out there. I got a hot tub. Can I go get in my hot tub and do this myself?"
Uh,
Because you know
um,
somebody gonna do that.
oh, but see, this is the thing when it comes to things like this. It's a treatment at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's contraindications that exist within this. You have to be careful when your body overheats and you're going through a fever. More of the times than likely, you don't want to be alone, and you're not alone,
Okay.
because if it gets too high, you need to take a trip to the hospital, right? It's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing when you create an artificial fever. So I wouldn't
Okay.
recommend somebody do that on their own, just laying in a jacuzzi and deciding I'm chilling here till I get up to 104.
Yeah.
But if you have somebody that can thoroughly progress you through the treatment and give you instructions on what you'll need, the tools you'll need in order to, number one, maintain that temperature, and also number two, to keep you hydrated, because you're constantly sweating. You need to
Okay.
stay hydrated through the process. Again, you need to keep cold water on your head. It can be
Okay.
dangerous, and it can be very life threatening.
So this is a serious treatment, guys. So do not try this at home. Don't try this at home. Go see somebody like Marcus to help you to work your way through this. But it sounds like such a simple thing to do. I mean, because I mean, you're talking naturopathic, and I think everything that when you look at what the doctors, like traditional medicine, or not traditional medicine, Western medicine, going to the doctor, when you look at the things that they do, I mean, it's just, it's a prescription pad and, you know, and a sample, maybe, you know, if the person came by to deliver it to them. And so you don't get the good things that you could to prevent this or to even cure. It's like I mean, this is simple. I mean, not simple, but I mean, it's not as expensive as going to the doctor.
The thing,
Uh-oh, we can't hear you.
health
Okay.
to expenses, right? We tend to
Yeah.
think that the more expensive a treatment is, the better it is going to work. And in
Mm-hmm.
all actuality, that's not the case. Pharmaceuticals and all these things are fairly new.
Mm-hmm.
Our ancestors, they were doing these things for centuries.
Right.
Grandma would go back in the backyard and grab an aloe vera leaf if you had a burn or a
Yeah.
scar.
Yeah.
These things that have been put here by the creator have been put here for our edification. But
Right.
again, when we're not educated and we don't have the knowledge to incorporate these things, that's when the harm is done. And then that's what we can be when the pharmaceutical industry can use us and rob us of our pocket, but also rob us of our vitality by the means of narcotics.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Now, as you've been talking, you mentioned being alkaline. How does being alkaline relate to the disease of the body, or not being having diseases in your body?
Being alkaline, it basically, again, is incorporated with our raw material diet,
Mm-hmm.
and also understanding that mucous membranes do exist in our body.
Mm-hmm.
But when we have an overconsumption of mucus through cheese and
Mm-hmm.
through meat and
Don't touch
processed
my
foods,
cheese.
we don't allow our we don't allow our immune system to
Mm-hmm.
act accordingly, and we also are blocking passageways through our ventricular system. So this is when arteries become clogged because of plaque,
Mm-hmm.
and the veins become either vasoconstriction. We experience vasoconstriction because, again, the blood flow, the life is in the blood, and it's not flowing to the organs, the endocrine system and the digestive system. It's getting halted. So what
Mm-hmm.
happens when that gets halted? If a person has colon cancer and they start developing ulcers, it's because why? They're not getting the blood flow that they need.
Okay.
So in order to reverse that and make our body alkaline, we have to get back to nature. Simple. That means cutting down on any sugary, preservative, soda, soft drinks that we consume, because that makes
Right.
the blood acidic.
Mm-hmm.
Cutting down on a high diet of dairy products, which is high in mucus.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, number one contributing factor for a lot of people that have allergies,
Mm-hmm.
asthma, things of that nature are tied to mucus, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And also just getting back to a full plant-based diet. That's
Mm-hmm.
the best way of reversing any type of any type of disease that is incorporated within our system and getting our body back to normal. So we have going back to what I was saying earlier, we have this kind of like this energy field around us.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that we consume animal products, these things that have died and have been processed, and I'm going to get on a quantum physical level real quick. When you kill an animal in distress, that animal and that emotion that's tied within that blood, you're consuming that. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't understand, why am I having headaches and why am I always stressed, or why
Mm-hmm.
am I having these symptoms of anxiety all the time? Well, you kind of got to go back to what you're eating as well. And
Okay.
again, by reversing this, you can make the body alkaline once again.
Okay. So I heard you say cut out things, but what can you add to your diet that would contribute to making you alkaline?
Antioxidants. So plenty of berries. Blueberries is a great source of antioxidant. Any type of berries, raspberry, blueberry, blackberries, fruits.
Mm-hmm.
So vitamin C from the oranges, manganese from the apples, iron, zinc from the leafies that we eat, the cabbage, the kale, the spinach, the broccoli. Um, and I would say from a liquid standpoint, besides water, another thing you can do that will filtrate the the vitamins and the enzymes quicker through the body is juice. So all the things that I named, as far as the veggies and the fruit, you just do juice, and that will process through the body a lot quicker.
Yes, it does. But what about somebody who's diabetic who might not be able to take well, they wouldn't be able to take a juice, a fruit juice. Is Could they do a veggie juice?
Stay to a veggie juice. There are some low glycemic fruits that they can actually eat. So green apples,
Mm-hmm.
um, oranges, I believe strawberries are on the lower glycemic side, and they
Mm-hmm.
would just have to stay away from the more sugary fruits such as bananas, um, not green grape, red grapes,
Mm-hmm.
cantaloupe, things of that nature.
Okay. So I do I love lemon. It's hard for me to, I love lemon, so I just always just drink lemonade, I put lemon in everything, cuz I absolutely love lemon. My grandpa did too. I think that's where I got it from because my grandpa used to eat a lot of lemon. But I love lemon, and so would adding lemon to the water, because I know lemon is one of those fruits that actually is acidic, but it's alkaline in the body. So would you suggest adding lemon? Like to drink your water, whichever I tell everybody, get your four a day. But um, get your four a day, but add some lemon to this, and then that will help to make the body alkaline as well, or to bring some alkalinity to the body.
Yes, yes, lemon definitely does help. You don't want to take too much of it, because lemon, like you said, it is an acid. It does contain citric acid,
Mm-hmm.
and too much of that can destroy the lining of the stomach.
Okay.
But maybe a few times a week, I would say first thing in the morning, it's good to drink lemon water, lime water as well. It's another acidic fruit, but it's good. It's an antioxidant,
Okay.
um, and it also, there is, I think, vitamin A that is in lemon as well. So lemon's good. Lemon works.
Okay. And I'm trying to think. Using with gargling with something like baking soda and water, would that help to introduce any alkalinity to the body?
Well, baking soda is okay for a short period of time. What
Okay.
I would recommend somebody do is get charcoal. Charcoal is an absorbent. So if you can get
Okay.
like maybe a tablespoon of charcoal with some water and just like, mix it around for a minute or so,
And
and
swish it around
take
your mouth.
that, gargle with it. Hmm.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's a cleanser as well.
Okay. Woo! I learned something new. Yes. Yes. I learned something new because, see, I was asking for a friend, you know. Okay. No, for me. Okay. But so, Marcus, can you tell everybody where they can find you? Give them all of your social media details. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you today. So, give them all your social media details so they can go look you up and find you and reach out to you.
Before, so you've been wonderful. You
Thank you.
inspired me through your journey. The first time we talked and hearing your journey and where you are now, it's been an inspiration. And I have the honor and privilege of getting to know you and talking to you. I want to
Thank
say
you.
that first and foremost.
Thank you.
Um, so social media, people can get me through rightlightinc@gmail.com. That is the number one way of getting to me if you want to schedule any consultations. I do 45-minute consultations every 2 weeks. Or if a person wants to do a treatment plan, I have a comprehensive treatment plan that is prescribed to them specifically every month, right? So
Okay.
we do a six month screening based off whatever it is that they're dealing with, and we go month by month and see how they're progressing.
Okay.
Right light underscore INC on Instagram. So a lot of my material is posted there. I do videos. I have a lot of just quotes, meaningful nuggets that's presented there that a person can just gotta get a quick jot of, and they'll get I guess, the prescribed message from.
Okay.
Also, I have a blog page. So rightlightinc.wordpress.com, where I do blogging. I talk about a lot of metaphysical things, a lot of spiritual things as well regarding the human anatomy. And last but not least, I do have a YouTube page that is Marcus Delante Wright. You guys can find me on there doing YouTube material. I have a series I have starting on health emphasis, going very intricately over each organ and its properties and what it's used for and how it has a direct impact on our spiritual nature.
Oh, that
So
sounds
that is
awesome.
that.
That sounds awesome. Okay, well, everybody, you all go follow Marcus on all of his social medias, like his Facebook page. Did you say you didn't say Facebook? Facebook is always in my mind, but you didn't say Facebook. No.
Instagram.
Instagram. Oh yeah, they're tied together. Like his Instagram. Follow him on Instagram. Follow him on YouTube. And check out his blog post and reach out to him because he's got some great information and some great tools. I mean, that hydrotherapy, that yeah, that one right there, I'm interested in that. I'm interested in some hydrotherapy because I feel like there's some things that could be processed and worked out in my bodies for with that I learned something. Did you all get something? Did you get something? If you did, just go find Marcus and give him a thumbs up. I'm going to put all of his social medias into the on the YouTube page. I'm going to add it there. You'll find it there at SAIRNT on YouTube. And you can also find all of his information. It's going to be on in the show notes on the podcast as well. So please go check him out. Marcus, thank you so much for joining us today. I've learned so much and I've thoroughly enjoyed you. Thank you. Thank you. And everybody, until next time, you know how we do. It's just peace and blessings. Bye bye.